Prosser. My name is Larry Procar. I live at 2135 Zika Avenue Northwest. I'm directly east of the property that's coming up for discussion tonight, the new development. And the whole theme of this situation has been going on for 2 years. It seems like it's forever. But it all boils down to money. Believe it or not, the simple word is money. Who's got it, who wants it, who's getting it. The thing that disappoints me is that we put a sign on the side of a burro and walking down the street and said it's for flood victims. But certainly the banner on the burro, these properties, when it's developed, if it ever is, we'll never see, and if it does, there'll be very few flood people living in these houses. They don't have the money, back to the basic word. So my thoughts are, and you discussed at a meeting about the voucher system, it really sounded like it made sense. It's actually going to give the money to the people who were affected. Because in the end, I guess if we're talking flood victims, these are real people, they have names, and if the monies that we're talking about subsidizing the development would flow directly to the people that were affected, it certainly will address one of the issues that was brought up at one of the meetings. Was to keep a retired farmer from Shellsburg or a man from Central City who thought it's a good idea to move to Cedar Rapids and get this nice deal. You have nothing in this provision that prevents people from out of Cedar Rapids to take advantage of the situation, and subsequently, what we thought was a good idea to deal with flood victims, you certainly are going to circumvent the whole issue. So you had the right idea, you were on the right track, you were talking about vouchers. You said you're still thinking about vouchers. How can we get them to people's hands? How can we let them decide if they maybe, when the buyout becomes a real issue and the state of Iowa decides to give up the money, these people may want to live right where they were living before. Some of them are 50-year people there. I heard somebody mention tonight how long their folks had lived in the area. But you know, these people may want to live in the same lot if it's buildable, if it's outside the flood zone where they can build. They may be excited about moving back with their neighbors. So the voucher system has a lot of sense. It goes to the people that were really affected. The second thing I want to bring up is this morning's paper. The school board said they could do without the money. The Lynn County Supervisor spoke up. Hauser was his name. He said, you know, it's the right thing to do. After we get done with this whole thing, what's the right thing to do? Because you know, you think about it and you say, would you pay for something that you can't use? And certainly these people, they have not been able to use their homes. Some of them are paying now on 2 properties. They got one they got a bill for they're living in, and they're paying for the one that they left. So think about it, and like I said, these people are on board. They said they can make do. The school board said we can make a place. We can come up with the cuts. We'll do something. But again, I think the theme on the idea is it's the right thing to do, and I really think, you know, that you need to think about it and say, you know, what would you think if you were in that position? Thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
Good evening. My name is Joanne Robinson. I live at 1702 Myers Court Northwest. I'm going to continue where my husband left off. One of the things that you guys have been pushing to Sugar Creek is identified as flood replacement housing. We're getting a little tired of hearing that, when we all know that you cannot guarantee that the flood victims are the ones that are going to get these properties. If you could guarantee 95% and could guarantee that the existing homes would not get flooded, we would be all up for this. But there's laws that prevent you from giving these to the flood victims. There's ways that they have to go about getting these homes. And most of them can't afford it because they can't afford to get a loan. Because they're either giving their homes back because they can't afford them, because they're not living in them, in order to pay the rent where they're living now. You've got 81 lots proposed to be developed. No guarantee that this is going to be for the flood victims, so I wish you guys would stop saying that. Over in Wilderness Estates, they built 20 Habitat for Humanity homes. You know how many flood victims got those? 6. Our daughter lives over in Wilderness Estates. They've been wanting to sell their house. Because this street has been built with these Habitat for Homes, their realtor has said, sorry, your home's not worth what we thought it was going to be worth. Your property value is the same, but you can't get what you need for your house. Another thing I want to discuss is this rent-to-own housing. You've got 20 units in here that are going to be managed by Scotia. It says in your article that the rent is going to be $475 to $550 a month with a forgivable soft second mortgage if the people live in the house for 5 years. And they'll also get $29,000 assistance to ensure that rental rate for 15 to 30 years. Since when is it a good idea for the city to get involved with rental homes or development of homes? Isn't that what we've got developers in the city for? Why do we have to give them any assistance to build? If there's a need for housing, let them carry that whole thing on their shoulder and build these homes. I don't think they need any money to assist in building homes in Cedar Rapids. I think the city needs to focus more on running the city business than on the housing. And again, I want to ask the council, why are you picking on the neighborhoods of Alice Park? We live there for one reason. The solitary, the people that are there, we all get along. Why are you forcing all of this into our area when one of the things you guys said early on is that you want to maintain the integrity of existing neighborhoods? You're going to disrupt our neighborhoods. You're going to cause more pain with tax dollars for us because those roads are going to have to be developed. That's a cost we're going to have to bear, besides having to bear the cost of all what the federal government is doing. Doesn't the city have enough problems with trying to reconstruct the city without taking on all these other projects? It's now been, what, over 2000, it's been over a year. Where do you think these flood victims are now? They've moved on. And this over in Wilderness Estates just shows you that you build those things and say it's for the flood victims, and it truly is not. So I hope you guys think sensibly on this. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is